Hello implementers, I'm Anthony English and this is episode 16 of the Learn to Implement podcast, where you will learn how to manage perfectionism, beat procrastination and execute on some of those ideas that you have. Now, what is the importance of strangers? Strangers, especially when it comes to putting things in front of people who don't know you. This is absolutely critical. When I started my YouTube channel, once it started to get some traction, I really didn't understand why. I came up with ideas of videos that I could create, but I really didn't know why some videos did well and others didn't. Why some topics were attracting people and others weren't. Now, one of my videos has had, I think, 400,000 views, and a similar video, similar topic, has also had another 300,000 views. But what was it about those videos that really got people in? The reality is I didn't know. I didn't know what it was that hooked those people. And I thought I just created a whole lot of other videos around the similar sort of topics on a similar technology, because these were how-to videos, but they really didn't do well. And was it my production value? No, some of those videos that did very well had really poor production, poor editing, lots of ums and ahs that I never cut out, and I just thought, and they make me cringe, but they did really well. And I didn't know why they did well until I saw a comment from a stranger, a complete stranger. I asked people who I knew who had seen my YouTube channel, and oh yeah, look, that did well because of this, or because this video was related to people working from home. But they really didn't nail it why people were watching this particular video. And I didn't know why until I saw a comment from one stranger. And the comment was a very emotional one. The video itself was, how do I turn off my camera on Zoom? How do I stop the video? Well, on a technical point of view, it's really easy. When you're in a Zoom call, you just hit stop video and you're done. But it wasn't that. It was when somebody searched or commented and said, I have been unable to attend my classes for the first 2 days because I was terrified. I hated seeing my face. That's very emotional language. I hate going on camera. It's very emotional language. How do I hide my face? And that was what really blew me away, is that when I was creating this video, I wasn't thinking, how do I hide my face? I was thinking, here's technically what the solution is, what people want. And it was only once it actually got in front of a stranger. Why a stranger? Because the friends were kind of just encouraging me. I needed somebody who did not have any skin in the game, who didn't want to give me any encouragement. They had a painful problem that they wanted solved. And the only way that I was going to find that out was by finding people who were not interested in me. They were not chasing my channel. They just wanted their painful problem solved. And so that was the key. Getting it in front of strangers. Now, that's really, really hard, because when you are speaking to strangers, you feel judged. You feel awkward, and this can happen with speaking on video. It can happen with recording a podcast. It can happen with writing. If you're writing to strangers. And so to play it safe, you tend to be very generic, very safe. Try and repeat things that everybody else says anyway, and be very inoffensive and so on. Not that I'm saying you should be offensive, but the idea here is that you want to get into the mind of a stranger who has no skin in the game, no care about your platform or your channel or you yet. but you want people who are going to come back and say, this is exactly what I was looking for. This has really, really helped me. And so I learned that the key to creating lots of content, to be able to create a product, is to be able to put it in front of strangers, which is kind of odd because you actually need, if you want to create something valuable, you've got to speak to people and find out what it is that they find valuable. And so by the definition, they're no longer strangers. So it's kind of this balance, is that on the one hand, you've got to solve a problem that people really care about, and they really do have. And then on the other hand, you've got to reach people who don't even know you. And that's not just to build your numbers, to build your audience. It's to be able to say, this really matters. This is not just important to people who are just giving me words of encouragement or because they're my friends or my colleagues, but this really, really counts. So that's why you've got to get it in front of strangers, which is really hard to do. It's really, really tough. However, the good news is that when you are first starting out, so few people are even going to see your material that it doesn't really matter. And so you can afford for it to be a bit cringeworthy. You can afford for it to be not very popular, not to have too many people seeing it. That's okay. That's not a problem. And so that's why, as I say, getting it in front of strangers is a very valuable skill for you to have, because it's not so much getting it there in front of them so that lots and lots of strangers actually see what it is that you have to say. But the fact that you've actually published, you've actually got it out there. It's not just a draft, it's not just an idea that's in your head, but you've actually put it out there where at least potentially it can be seen by strangers. That is invaluable. And then when you get your first stranger come to you and say, this is wonderful, this is exactly what I needed. Or when your first stranger comes up and says, this is what I needed and I am buying this. They're actually paying you money from somebody that you've never heard of. That's a massive, massive turning point in your creative career. So get things in front of strangers. Start creating things. And by strangers, I don't just mean social media, but get things definitely in front of strangers who are not necessarily going to like what you say, because they're not your audience. The ones who are your audience are the ones who are going to say, this is just what I needed to hear. Till next time, thanks for listening or watching on the Learn to Implement podcast. I'm Anthony English. See you next time.